Now, I think we moved into complete the square, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. I only think we did like one or two problems, so what I'll do, we're going to move up the scale and do about 10 problems. And once we do those 10 problems, you'll be pretty much good at completing the square. I think the first one we did was something simple. We'll do another simple one to kind of get everybody's memory jarred over what we did last time. So let's start with number 1 or number 2 out of 10. Let's go with x squared minus 7x plus 2 is equal to 0. Okay, go back to your notes on completing the square. And I want you to complete the square. I want you to find the vertex. I want you to find the x-intercepts, sketch it, and then we'll go over the domain and range. Okay? Start you off. X squared minus 7x plus blank is equal to negative 2 plus blank. No, let's change this to 6. I'm still not ready to go that route yet. That's a number 4, number 5, and number 2 right now. So what's half of 6? And 3 squared is what? That 9 goes there and there. And then what does that give us on the left-hand side? Shortcut number 2, which will give us what? What will x squared minus 6x plus 9 give us using shortcut number 2? X minus 3 quantity squared. And now you have your vertex. Vertex is equal to negative, I'm sorry, I can't read. I don't know how did that happen. Three comma negative 7. All right, now solve it for x. Also, we need to write it in intercept form. So I'll do that for you also. F of x is equal to x minus 3 quantity squared minus 7. Now solve it for x. Yes, sir. Did I not? No, you always get the opposite. And you always bring this over. Yep. That's all right. You just leave. That's all right. We'll talk about you after you leave. Then you won't come back anymore. Freaking idiot. Fully about a minute. Freaking idiot. Square root of both sides will give you x minus 7 is equal to the square root of 7. Well, you can do the square root of 7 in your head. The square root of 4 is what? 2. The square root of 9 is what? What's between 2 and 3? 4 and 5 is 2.5. Square root of 6.5 is 2.5, so 2.6. X minus 7 is equal to positive or negative 2.6. X is equal to positive or negative 2.6 plus 7. And that's going to give you a 9.6. That's one x-intercept. And negative 2.6 plus 7, I have no idea. 4.4. Somebody help me out. Is it 4.4? All right, now sketch it. A lot of people say, Hubert, why don't you do the radical? I come from an engineering family. There ain't no such thing as square root of 7 feet. Cumberland Gap spring water. Yeah, sure. I'm going to get me a bunch of plastic bottles and start filling them up out there on the farm and start selling them. Call them, what would I call it? Cattle Springs fresh water. I don't buy Deer Park water because of that. I don't want to buy no water that's been bottled in a Deer Park. Think about that. It's called runoff. Damn Russian's fault. Did you see that post, Mr. Harville, where I said that the Hollywood actors are going on strike? And so far, 10 people have commented, said good, they can go to hell, basically. I agree with them. That's why I like Denzel Washington and Mark Wahlberg, and they don't say anything, they just make movies. Some of them are smart, they just keep their mouth shut and they make more money. But idiots like George Clooney, I'm not going to watch them anymore. And Rosie O'Donnell's heading it up. I was wondering if this strike was going to be like her leaving the country. You know why they didn't leave the country, don't you? They're making too much what? Money off the capitalistic system that they despise. Yep. Besides being disgusting, no, that's all she does pretty much. No, she just lives out there in Hollywood. $1 million mansions fighting for, what is it called, income equality. And they have the highest, in California, they have the highest homeless rate, a homeless population in the United States. But all the actors want income equality. It's very hypocritical, don't you think? I think they need to just get on their unicorn and just ride off on Candy Mountain and just live their life with the unicorns.
I got a question. Why is that X minus 7 equals 37?
I just came out with, I just made x minus 3 into 7. I don't know how I did that. And nobody said a word.
Man, I kept wondering.
Well, I'm waiting for Bubba to say, oh yeah, I thought it was that way, but I wasn't going to say anything. I'm waiting for that person to speak up. I just changed it.
I thought you were showing us another trick.
No, it's called thinking and writing at the same time. I changed this into a 7. Okay, let me redo it. Sorry about that. Sometimes when you're doing the math in your head, it transfers to the pen. I'm a failure. And once you're, it's kind of like AA. Once you admit that you're a failure, you kind of go from there. You kind of go up.
Right.
Yeah. So my name's Hubert. I'm a failure.
That's the beauty of being a failure.
Yeah. Plus or minus 2.6 plus 3. Now, what's 2.3 plus 6? 5.6. And negative 2.6 plus 3 is 0.4. No coughing in class. Okay, so here is our 1, 2. There's our y-intercept, 0, 2. And our x-intercepts are 5.6 and 0.4. And our vertex is 3, 7. Now you may have noticed that I wasn't too worried about making any errors because I didn't see that error. Well, what would have told me that I had an error? The graph. The graph would have told me that I had an error because all the little dots wouldn't have lined up. Okay? Now, what's the domain? Yes, ma'am. Where'd I get what? C. C up top. C is always your y-intercept before you move it. Don't pull -2, that will mess you up. Okay, now what's your domain? Well, it's a quadratic. Domain is 99% all what? All real numbers, Hubert. Thank you, class. Why is it 99%? Because 1%, the teacher or the directions can say from -2 to +2. And then I have affected the domain. 3 does not exist in your universe, -2 to +2. So that 1%, 99%, the domain for a quadratic is going to be all the numbers. The range. Range is from what? -7 to what? Infinity. Decreasing and increasing. Well, I like to tell students this. Now, Mr. Harvell, you just keep quiet. You're a pilot. Just hush. Okay, this is my world. You don't exist in my world, okay? All right, here's my plane. And a plane, it has 2 directions pretty much, okay? And those directions are left to right and up and down, right? Those are 2 predominant. No sneezing in class here. All right, so here's our plane. And our plane, oh, you weren't supposed to do that. Sure. Okay, that's not going to work. I'm going to have to go somewhere else. We can go up here. Get out of the area. Okay. Let's try that. Yeah. Here's our plane. Now, this arrowhead right here means that this plane, this keeps on going. I'm about to fall down. Right? Keeps on going this way. All right. This arrowhead means that it keeps on going this way, right? So this plane is following. So what is this plane doing as it approaches the vertex? It's decreasing, right? It's landing. It's, what do you call it? Descending, right? Is it descending, Mr. Harvell?
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody get that? Now, what's it doing from the vertex to the right? It's ascending. Okay. Oh my! And it blows up. The Russians blew it up. So from negative infinity to my vertex, it's decreasing. From my vertex to infinity, it's what? Increasing. So let's write this down. Now you've got to remember that all of these things down here are in reference to the x-axis except for the range. Okay? The range is in respect to the y-axis, right? No, we only try to see it. Okay, the only thing you do in here is breathe. All right, decreasing from negative infinity to 3. And increasing from 3 to what? Infinity. So increasing and decreasing is basically what is the plane doing in respect to x? What is it doing from left to right? So next time you get confused, put your little plane up there and just go down and see what it's doing. And just remember, if a parabola is opening upward, it's going to be decreasing, then increasing. If it's opening downward, it's going to be what? Increasing, then what? Decreasing. And always remember the plane. The plane. And now you've just done everything you need to know about a parabola. You know what's so interesting about this? Is you did it all to complete the square. You didn't have to do anything else. It's amazing what the brain can do, especially when it's taught something. What's that? Line of what? Line of symmetry. X is equal to 3. And that's everything I want you to be able to do on these complete the square problems for homework. Now, when you get on the test, they're not going to ask you to do every single thing. But if you can do every single thing on the 10 or 11 problems that we're doing, you can handle anything that they give you on a test for homework. You with me? Okay, let's do a nerd. Let's do another 1 or 2 easy problem, and then we'll move to a 2 or a 3, which is a more complicated problem. Okay? Let's do one more, and I'm going to let y'all do this one pretty much yourselves, so it'll discourage you as much as possible. X squared plus 4x minus 10 is equal to 0. All right, y'all do that one. You should be able to do it in 5 minutes for beginners. Oh, Miss Kunkel. Sorry, Miss Kunkel. That's why I tell y'all to text me. Miss Silver also. Okay, people are going to have to start texting me. I can't read. Now she's done that limit. Okay, Miss Silva's in. Miss Silva, can you hear me? Miss Silva, can you hear me? It says your microphone is off. Can you hear me? Text me next time. Your email until I looked. You're gonna have to text me before class. So also Miss Kunkel, let me try her again. Should be coming in. I'm glad I checked. Okay, she ain't gonna be reached. Try one more time. Because I just emailed her back. Well, Miss Silva, can you see my desktop? Okay. Make sure I am recording. Okay, there's the problem we're doing, Miss Silva. And I'll wait for Miss Kunkel to respond. I hate I missed her, but that's why I tell y'all to text me. One guy said, is there any way we can help support this movement of the Hollywood actors going on strike? One guy said, is there any way we can give money for these people to go on strike? I think people are kind of fed up with people in Hollywood trying to tell us what to do. You reckon? Did you hear that? I don't listen to that woman. The same woman that said she would do me sexual favors for votes. No, they don't report that. No? Yeah. Somebody needs to let Freddy Krueger go through her dreams. Okay, Mr. Allison is here. Barnes, Bearden is here. Cherry, Clark, Chris. Did I hear Clark say? Yeah. Okay, all I heard was no. Driver, Fields, Fisher, Fox. Let's see Fox today. Fuller, Arvell is here. Hull, Kemp, Kraft. I'm gonna count Kunkel here. She tried to Skype. I just didn't know she was. Silva's here. Simmons is not here. Strickland is here. Warnick and Weaver. And then she cursed me and left. I won't blame her. All right, how much more time you need? Finished? Quit? Somebody gonna talk to him? You finished? Okay. Well, one person dictates what the whole class does then. I only heard one person say.
I'm done.
What? I quit.
I'm done.
You're done, Mr. Strickland? You scared me.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Okay. So, x squared plus 4x plus blank is equal to 10 plus blank. Half of 4 is 2 squared is x plus 2 quantity squared is equal to 10 plus 4 is 14. So here we can write f of x is equal to x plus 2 quantity squared minus 14, or the vertex is negative 2, negative 14. This is what I test you. This is just for your book, the homework, and your test. They're going to ask you for that. Solve. X plus 2 is equal to the square root of 14. Well, the square root of 16 is what? 4. Square root of 9 is 3. So 9 to 16 is 7. Half of 7 is 3.5. Square root of 12.5 is 3.5. So 12, 13 to 16 is 3. Half 3 is 1.5. That'd be 13.5, 3.7, 3.8. Okay. And x is equal to positive or negative 3.7 minus 2. And that'll leave us with negative 5.7, positive and negative, that'd be 1.7, and negative 5.7. Take the any graph, and 0, negative 10 down here, and negative 2, negative 14 down here, negative 5.7, and 1.7. Domain is all real numbers. Range is from negative 14 to infinity. Increasing or decreasing from negative infinity to negative 2. Increasing from negative 2 to infinity. And the line of symmetry, x is equal to negative 2. It's amazing what your brain can do and not have to use a calculator, isn't it? Yes, Hubert. Thank you, class. I just made it up. Where? Well, the two perfect cubes that are above 12, that are around 14 is 9 and 16. You got to encompass it. That's called interpolation, not interpretation. I didn't say interpretation, I said interpolation. It's where you take half of half of half of half until you get what you need. It's used in topographic maps, topography. It's used in that, like you got a 5-foot drop between the top of a hill and the bottom of a hill, and you got 20 feet from here, then you can disperse the elevation every 2 feet. That's called interpolation. Here, you use the same thing, only you're using it on a number line. Take half of half of half of half of half, and eventually you'll get the number that you need. Now, it is estimation, but I would much rather you 20 million times over think with your head and estimate than you use an idiot box, because I can get my 10-year-old to run that idiot box just as much as anybody, and he don't know what he's doing. And if you ever want to see somebody that depends on the idiot box, go to Walmart or Target or Wendy's and order something or buy something. Let them ring it up, and then give them 6 cents. After you ring it up and watch your head explode, those are the people that can't do anything without calculating. Y'all have no idea what I'm talking about, but ask your parents. They know. Okay? All right, let's do a nerd. Now, this is on a scale from 1 to 10. We've just done a couple of number 1s and number 2s. So now we're going to move up to number 3 and number 4. Y'all ready? X squared plus 3x minus 2 is equal to 0. Let's make that a 7, something that's not factorable. And now you do not need a calculator, because all the math on here is 3rd, 4th grade math. She been going offline. She gave up on me. Not to use decimals either, because decimals, that's just encouraging you to use calculator. What do I use? What did you use back in 3rd and 4th grade? I sucked in 3rd and 4th grade. Well, just quit and throw your pencil down and make it pop. X squared plus 3x plus blank is equal to 7 plus blank. 3 divided by 2 is 3 halves. 3 halves squared is what? And tell me what's hard about that. It ain't hard, but you've been programmed. Kind of like the Matrix. You've been programmed whenever you get to a stopping point, instead of thinking it through, you have to use the what? Calculator. You've been programmed. Forget those fractions. I'm one of your math teachers in K through 12, and I don't know how to do fractions myself, so I'm not going to teach you how to do fractions. I'm just going to teach you how to use calculator. Now I'll give you shortcut number 1, which is x plus 3 halves y squared is equal to 28 fourths, here it comes, plus 9 fourths. All right, finish it out. I'll wait before I ask for questions because I know I'll get a couple. Where'd that 2804 come from? Where'd that 3 halves come from? Okay, who's got questions? How did I get 3 halves? Well, I took B and I divided by 2 and I squared it. That's where the 9/4 came from. And then shortcut number 1 tells us take the square root of the first term, take the square root of the second term, A plus B quantity squared. Over here, I've got to have a common what to add fractions? So change this into a 4. 1 will go into 4 4 times. 4 times 7 is 28. I think all of those pretty much be done 4th grade math. X plus 3 halves quantity squared is equal to 37/4. Now I know none of y'all can figure out the square root of 37 when the square root of 36 is 6. Reckon it's 6.1. Reckon? Except for that person still wondering what the 6 cents is for, right? What's this for? X plus 3 halves is equal to 6.1 positive or negative over 2. And don't forget our vertex. And our f of x is equal to x plus 3 halves quantity squared minus 37/4. Vertex is negative 3 halves and negative 37/4. And then we bring the negative 3 over. X is equal to positive or negative 6.1 minus 3 over 2. What is 6.1 minus 3? Huh? 3 part. What's half of $3.10? $1.55. I heard that. Okay, 155 is 1. If that's right, I don't know if that's what y'all said. That's right. What's negative 9.1? What's half of $9.10? Negative what? Negative 455. Okay, sketch it. See if everything lines up. If it doesn't, then consider yourself a failure. And you should quit school. That's good. That's good. That's fine. That's fine. But remember, eventually those decimals will get confusing. With the fractions, they don't. I like your. Is that University of Georgia? I'm a Georgia fan. Those decimals can get a little bit hairy. That's fine. I want to see how real tough that is. Red and black. It's got both that. I like Georgia because when I was a kid, I had to go down to Georgia a lot. There was this office that my dad went into, and I had to go in there and sit down for an hour. And all around that office was Vince Dooley, the University of Georgia posters. That's all I saw. There was no pictures, there was no wallpaper. It was just wall to wall, University of Georgia, Vince Dooley. So I grew up liking Georgia. I wanted to be a veterinarian. You go to Georgia to be a veterinarian. But I ended up going to Clemson, so I like Clemson, even though it's an all children's conference. And then I like South Carolina because that's our state school. So I like all three of them. I pull for all three of them, unless we're playing for each other and playing against each other, and then I just usually flip a coin. Or I pick the inevitable, realistic situation of which one's going to win. Not all the time. Georgia's like South Carolina. They rebuild you right now. So in other words, they suck right now, but they'll get there eventually.
That's not
That's neat. Yeah, that was like Vince Dooley was the Bear Bryant of Georgia. I mean, he was legend. So they all line up. Yeah, I love going to Hartwell and Royston and Barnesville, and I like going down there. I buy parts, a lot of tractor parts from Barnesville, John Deere and Ford Force down there. People say, well, they only have one in Anderson. Yeah, but I don't like the ones in Anderson, so I go down to Barnesville because they're down here.
I had put a really high so
A John Deere place?
It's right next to the Papa John's and all that facility.
On Clinton Boulevard.
They said this open. Yeah, it's right across from Waffle House and from Clinton Boulevard.
Didn't know that.
It's been back, what, 3 weeks? Yeah, it's not.
I'm still not going there. Because having a tractor place in Anderson is kind of like having a refrigerator factory in Alaska. It just don't work. Too many city folks around here don't know what it that's the end of the tractor looks like. You go up to them, you ask them for a part, and they go, where's it going? Just go down to Carnesville, you tell them what you need, and they'll have it sent to you in a day, and not even ask you a single question. All right. That's one thing I despise. When I'm working on something, I despise to go into a parts place and somebody asks you 25 questions. You don't have to be asked 25 questions. Just give me the daggone part. Let's go on. Anyway, I'll shut up. -7 down here. -3 halves is -1.5. And negative what? 36, that'd be 12. Negative, that's 36, 4 going to 36 9 times. -9 down here. And 1.55 and -4.5. Does everything line up? Looks pretty good to me. Domain, all real numbers. Range, -37/4 to infinity. Decreasing, -infinity to -3 halves. Increasing, -3 halves to positive infinity. We good? Yes, Hubert. No, Hubert. Thank you, class. Appreciate the interaction. It always helps to have a class interact with you. Makes class go by a whole lot faster. Look, I made him mad. He's winning. All right, this is ends number 3 and 4. So we're gonna move up to 4 and 5 after this one. Hold on a second. Maybe able to add Miss Silver eventually. I mean, not Miss Silver. I've been her. Nope. Thought she texted me. Where did I see that? Oh, that was all. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad Clemson won the. I'm happy for the players and I'm happy for the coaches. But I went off Facebook. I had to go off Facebook for about 2 weeks after they won. Because the problem with Clemson winning is not the players and it's not the coaches. Thank you. Yeah, it's like when Clemson wins, it's like they beat 15 teams. I mean, they could beat Duke 41-0, and Clemson fans would be like, "Yeah, man, we won." Really? You played a high school, okay? That's the only thing about Clemson fans, huh? Yeah, I agree with that. But any other fan base, it wouldn't be nothing like Clemson. I mean, at least the people that I know, I have to turn my Facebook off. I do. I had to turn it off for 2 weeks. Because these people, they worship Clemson fan. I mean, even though Clemson wouldn't give mayor that was in the jug, they worship Clemson. I mean, they do. They worship it. It's pretty sickening. I don't worship any college. And I got 2 degrees from Clemson, and I sure as heck don't worship it. You name your child after a college? That's pretty sad. Clemson. And the Clemson fans that are on my, they're the people that if Clemson loses, it's kind of like the Democrats. It's everybody else's fault. It's the referee's fault. It's the television broadcaster's fault. It's the ground, I mean, that the AstroTurf or whatever, the grass is on. It's the stadium. It's everybody's fault. You don't get that from the players, and you don't get that from the coaches at Clemson. You get it from the fans, from the idiot fans, not the regular fans. Regular fans are pretty cool. They're fine and like their vote. It's those idiot fans that I'm talking about. Everybody knows one. whether they're for Georgia or whether they're for Clemson or whether everybody knows an idiot fan. You know what I'm talking about? They name their kids after Pittsburgh Steeler. Hey, here's my son, Pittsburgh Steeler. I love a lot of things, but I'm not going to call my kid beer or Jack Daniels or Clemson or Steeler. I'm sorry, I'm not going to do that. I might like a lot of things, but I'm not idiotic. X squared plus 7x plus blank is equal to 3 plus blank. One of the greatest country singers of all time is George Strait. And I've been to 3 of his concerts in the past. And I love George Strait. But I ain't paying $200 a ticket to listen to George Strait. I'll pay $30 a ticket or I'll pay $75 a ticket. That's it. Yeah. Yep. Because they knew idiots would pay for it. I mean, it is South Carolina, you know. Mm-hmm. I'm a real country fan. I don't listen to this crap they play now. In fact, I keep my radio on XM. Some of the stuff they play now is just junk, so I don't listen to it.
This game is
Yeah.
Saturday night.
They play, they play retro country. Yeah, I listen to that one. And there's also one in Hartwell that does that. I don't know if it's still on, but it's 92.1. I think it's 92.1. What's 7 divided by 2? 7 halves. What's 7 halves squared? 49 fourths. X plus 7 halves, quantity squared, is equal to what? 12. 12 fourths plus 49 fourths. Oops, 49 over 49. I just made up a new problem again. Now, what's your last name? Fuller? Miss Fuller, you asked me a question about decimals a while ago. Now, on these decimals, they're starting to get a little bit more difficult. But when you do this, you can do 12 and 49. 12 plus 49 is what? 61? So you can do that more easy, more, whatever you want to call it. It's easier. And he had to do 12 plus 49 than it is to do, I don't know, 3 plus 4, we're going 49, we're doing what, 11, 12, 11 is 44, be 12 and 1/4, 12.25 plus 3 is 15.25. You can do that. Knock yourself out. I don't like to do that, but that's just me. But I was also brought up in school not to use a calculator. See, I don't think I can say that now. But that's why I can do the fractions a whole lot faster. So x plus, the vertex is, we'll do it down here. X plus 7 halves, quantity squared is equal to what? I say 61 over 4? Yeah. So our vertex is negative 7 halves, negative 61 fourths. And you can write it f of x. I've already wrote that enough. You can figure that out. Here's your vertex. And then x plus 7 halves is equal to the square root of 61 over 2. Well, the square root of 64 is 8. So I'm going to say the square root of 61 is about 7.8. What is it? So x is equal to positive or negative 7.8 minus 7 over 2. Okay, now this is some really rough math here. $7.80 minus $7 is 80 cents. And 80 cents divided by 2 is, gracious, y'all are quick. I got some students who go, wait a minute, what is that? Negative 7.8 minus 7 is negative 14.8. And dang old 7.4. Y'all checking. All right, draw it up. Sketch it up. Tell me what the domain and range is. And all that good stuff. Now, so far, we're around 3 or 4. We haven't moved on to the next ones. I don't know what time it is. It's probably about time to go. It is. We'll finish up next time with, I did call the roll, didn't I? Yeah. We'll finish up next time with 3 and, I meant to say word 4, 5, and 6, where you have a negative in the first one. And then we'll move to 6 and 7, where you have a number in front of the first one. And then we'll have 8 and 9, where you have a negative, and then all of them are fractions. Then that's where it's going to get messy. And that's going to separate the men from the boys. In other words, if you go and you do a bunch of practice problems with complete the square right now, and you go home tonight, make them up, people. Okay? Look up completing the square and worksheet. And they'll give you to work about 3 or 4 of these every night. And then when you come back Thursday, we'll move into the more difficult problems and you won't forget as much. As far as the homework, chapter 3 is where the completing the squares are, and the directions will say solve or find the x-intercepts by completing the square. And you're welcome to work on those. Don't worry about problems you haven't seen. If you see something on odd or even, don't worry about that. If you see something on I, don't worry about that. We'll go over all that after we finish completing the square. All I want you to focus on right now is positive, negative, the vertical and horizontal shifts that we went over in chapter 2, and then the completing the square, the basic ones in chapter 3. That's all I want you to work on right now. If you don't want to work on the MyLab Flush, just go to Google and pull up completing the square worksheets and do about 5 or 10 of them between now and Thursday. Okay? Y'all have a good day. Anybody need any questions, holler. Mr. Strickland, y'all have a good day. Miss Silva, have a good day. Miss Silva done took off. She done left. She said, see ya. Oh, well.